So this is my application of research-based instructional design principle to the auto safety case study. And I looked at the different models that we studied all semester, and I decided that I would go ahead and use the mashup I created earlier in the term. I actually did a mashup of Merrill's first principles in Universal Design for Learning, and it really suited well my style of instructional design, and so I thought it would be fun to test it out with the actual project. And the focus of this mashup is there's really three parts. The first thing you need to do is look at the what and the why. What do they need to learn, and why do they need to learn it? And telling students those two things are going to help them get a better grasp of what they're doing. Then the second thing when you're designing the course is take a look at how you're going to get there. So how are we going to get that content to the students? And the third element we're going to investigate is how do we know? Okay, so yeah, we put the content out there. How do we know that the students mastered it? So we're going to apply this to the auto safety course and see what we figure out. Okay, so the first element is what and why, and I actually broke this into two parts. Since the course exists for students and parents, I decided it would make the most sense to apply it to each of them individually. And we were told what content they have already in their video, and what I did was kind of adapt that. Some of it will be combined into these units, but I took it down from 9 units to 6. And each unit would be presented individually as opposed to being one big concept. The first one is what is a new driver. Second is driving as a psychomotor skill. The third is common hazards, which this section needs updating. No, not this section, the next one. Sorry. Fourth is possible distractions, which needs updating to include cell phones, texting, and digital music. Next one we're going to look at is how to deal with feedback from the environment while you're driving. And the last one is psychological factors that are involved with driving. And again, these will each be divided into their own separate unit. Each video should be interactive with pauses in the video to quiz the students or call out important details. This has actually been documented to be a very effective method for using videos in an online course. I've got a source for that at the end. And also, I think they should include some sort of an FAQ video. One of John Oliver's big concerns was the fact that if you don't have a live person, how are they going to address questions, concerns, and that sort of thing. You could go and poll your instructors, figure out what the most common questions that are asked at these programs are, and create this FAQ video. If you use actual instructors answering the most common questions in an engaging manner, I think we can cover most of what he's concerned about. So that's kind of what we're going to include. But we also want the students to understand why they need to know it. A couple ways we can do that is we can include relevant testimonials. So if we're talking about distractions, have a testimonial from someone whose child was killed texting while driving. Put that impactful part right in there with the content it goes along with that will get their attention and bring home what it is why it is they need to understand it. The other thing we can do is include clips of the instructors explaining how the material will be used on Saturday when they do the driving part. And then we also need to look at the parents section. Again, this course is unique in that it includes both the students and the parents. So the parents should have an element of the online course as well. And some of the content will be the same. They probably should also have a section on what to expect when they go on Saturday. I think they'd appreciate that. How to make the most of Saturday's driving experience, and maybe an FAQ section of questions that parents typically ask. and helping them understand why they could include the statistics about the success rate of the course that they quoted. John Oliver quoted at the interview they did with him. They can also include the testimonials that the parents can relate to. The parents seem to really appreciate and enjoy, or at least like, the testimonial part of the course. After you finish the what and why, we need to look at how we'll know. And that, in this case, this is a short course. I mean, really the content shouldn't take more than about 90 minutes to 2 hours to get through. So what we're going to do, we're not going to have a large variety, which, typically you would want in this type of instructional design model, but we can still do some variety. So we'll do quizzing for each unit, and ideally you would have a large test bank of questions, and students will be required to get a certain number of questions right on each unit before they can progress. So you need a test bank, again, with a lot of different questions, so that the students won't necessarily be taking the same test over and over. The quiz questions don't have to be text necessarily. They can be, but they can also use images. So you might give them a picture and ask them to identify hazards or something like that. It is a short course, so we don't need a variety of assignments, and they should be required to answer a certain number of questions correctly in order to be able to participate. As far as the parents go, I really kind of decided that if a parent is interested enough in helping their teen to be a better driver, to actually pay for this type of a course, then they're probably going to be involved and motivated already. So we're not going to have any kind of content analysis or quizzes or anything. We're going to assume that they do their part. All right, so the next section we need to talk about is the how will we get there? So how are we going to do that? Well, we can do an introductory video that explains how the course will work. That's kind of the show them the big picture step from the mashup I created. The next thing we can do, and this wasn't on the content page, but it's more of a review, is to have a quiz on basic road rules that the student should already know if they have their permit. And if you have a student who performs poorly on that, they can watch some review videos and make sure they're up to speed. So that's kind of the build on what you know element of that. Wherever possible, they should be using videos actually demonstrating the concept of being explained. Okay, use pictures in the testimonial. That's pictures worth 1,000 words, as they say. That's the show the students one element of the design model. For non-instructional, like informational type content, you might want to consider alternative means of instruction, maybe cartoons or comic strips, just to change it up a little but keep the students interested. The quizzes should go with each unit, so there shouldn't be one big one at the end, but as they go through, if the threshold score isn't met, then the students could retake the quiz, and when they have completed all of the work, they'll get a certificate of completion, and they need to print that and bring it to the driving session. So that, as I said, that's kind of their motivator for finishing it. They would not be allowed to drive. And I think if we can pull all these elements together, we do have a program that's interactive, engaging, instructional, and adaptable or upgradable. Very easy. If you have individual elements for each unit, if something changes, you can pull that unit, modify it, and move forward. And I just want to wrap up here. These are the sources I use, not just for this presentation, but for the entire project. Thank you very much.